Hey guys, this is your shop teacher. Today we're going to be looking at chain maintenance with no center stand on my Triumph Bonneville T100. So the first step in chain maintenance is getting the back tire off the ground. So if you don't have a center stand, this is how I figured out how to do it. So I've got myself a floor jack, and I found a point that I can lift the back tire off the ground safely. And so I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now. There's a piece of bracketry underneath that that I'm looking for as a lift point, and that's going to bring the back tire up, and it's going to kind of pivot on the front wheel and the actual kickstand. So here we go. Found my point of lifting. Now all I have to do is just simply lift the bike up until the rear tire is off the ground, like so. All right, now that we're on the other side of the bike where the chain is, we're going to talk about what tools are required. So we've got a 6mm Allen key, 12mm wrench, and just a standard screwdriver. And you'll see what the reason is for this in a minute. So what I do is I take off the exhaust pipe on this side here. So first step, use the 6mm Allen key and loosen off this bolt. And that's the clamp that holds the pipe onto the header. Get it fairly loose. Put the passenger peg down, and then I'm going to take my 12mm, get in behind here, and loosen off the peg, because that muffler is hanging on the same bolt that holds the passenger peg on. All right. So it starts to get loose. So then what I end up doing is taking a flat tip screwdriver and just putting a little bit of pressure on the Allen bolt that holds the passenger peg on. And then I can get this nut the rest of the way off. Okay. Peg comes off. And then I'm going to carefully pull this beautiful chrome pipe off and set it aside as well. It's nice, eh? All right. So now we can see the chain. I'm going to talk about what materials or what products I'm going to use to clean the chain, and the product that I prefer to use on this bike for lubrication. All right, so the product I like to use to clean the chain is not orange juice, but kerosene. Okay, so it's lamp oil. I find it works good for cleaning the chain. It also has some lubricating properties within it. And it's also pretty cheap as well. So I'm going to take this kerosene and then pour it out onto this rag. Fairly generous amount. And then I just have to work on cleaning the chain front to back, all the way around like so. All right, so you may notice my chain is not that dirty. I like to clean and lubricate it about every 500 kilometers. For some, that might be overkill. The other thing that you'll notice too is on the sprocket itself. there is some buildup. So I like to go around with the kerosene and clean the sprocket as well on the rear. So that's basically the process there. If your chain is really dirty, grab yourself an old toothbrush and you can use that to get right into the actual links and everything as well. Okay, so that's the basic idea there for chain maintenance as far as cleaning goes. All right, so the product I like to use on this bike, and I'll explain why on this bike, is chain wax. So it's made by Maxima, and what it does is you spray it on, goes on pretty wet, and then it dries up. Okay, so it goes in, lubricates the links of the chain, and then it dries on so that when you ride the bike half an hour later, you're not going to have all kinds of crud all over the rear wheel. And as you guys know that own Bonnevilles or similar bikes, it's a real pain to clean all the grease and grime off of the wheel, and as well as the spokes. So yeah, so I recommend this stuff. Does a good job and doesn't make a mess all over your wheel. All right, so applying the chain wax is obviously pretty straightforward. It comes with a straw. It doesn't seem to really get anywhere. It doesn't like make a huge mess when you're spraying it on. So I don't have the straw, but I'm not too concerned about it. I just find one point here to spray it on, and then I just spin the tire. The instructions say to put it on the inside of the chain. Probably has to do with gravity. It doesn't make sense to spray it from the bottom up. So just gonna have this turned on and slowly move it all the way along until I feel confident that I've got the entire chain lubed, okay? All right, so once the chain is lubricated, what I usually like to do, since I have the muffler off, it's a good idea just to go and clean the wheel at this point. You can do both sides, clean the tire, get into the spokes, and spin it all the way around since the tire's off the ground, and get that chrome looking nice and clean as well. There's really nothing else to do except put the exhaust back on and the passenger peg and make sure everything's tight. So that's pretty much all there is to that job. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and we'll see you guys later.